Hello, welcome to the TCH Radio. Coming up, we have an interview with a mystery man, and we've got 2 competitions and lots of other stuff like facts for the week.
Hello, this is Lakshana with your general news. Firstly, the recent performance of the Thwarting of Baron Bolligree was a success, and I know all the teachers and children involved worked hard to pull off such an amazing performance. Many thanks to Mrs. Lewis Williams and Mr. Kendrick for directing, and Mrs. Marchant for finding all those props, and of course to anyone else who helped out. Secondly, thank you to everyone who helped donate to the Norfolk Wildlife Trust during the Year 5's action-packed charity day, including sports and sold-out biscuit sale. We hope to find out soon the total amount raised. By the time you hear this, the Year 6 will be back from their amazing week in France, and we hope that they had an amazing time, and we're looking forward to see what chocolate they bring back for the Year 8s. Finally, do you remember the amazing music at the movies concert? Well done to everyone who took part, it was very good. A very special congratulations to Mrs. Koja and Miss Skinner for going through many long tiring practices to help us achieve our best in the concert. Thank you.
Hi, this is Tom Bailey with your fact of the week. Did you know the elephant is the only mammal that can't jump?
Hi, this is Sarah with your netball report. We've had a great season for netball, playing 60 matches in the shortest term and also managing to play and perform well in 3 tournaments. We fielded A, B, C and D teams involving every girl from years 5 to 8 and together winning around half of the matches played. Thankfully, the weather wasn't quite as wintry as the last netball season and we only had to cancel 2 of our matches due to the weather. Well done to every girl who played for the school this season in matches and practices, and thank you to the excellent coaching staff we are very fortunate to have.
We'd now like to introduce Mr. Harvey the Butcher, who's very kindly come along to answer some of our questions.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harvey. Can you tell us a bit about yourself? Are you from Norwich?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. I'm from Norwich, born and bred, and I went to Norwich School, which I'm still involved with, helping with Sea Scouts. And I left school in 1966 and went to work at the old shop, which was on Tombland in Norwich. It's now the bookshop. And eventually moved from there in 1985 to our present address, which is about a quarter of a mile away.
How long has your family been involved in selling meat?
Well, I'm the 3rd generation, and so it's 1924 we started, so it's quite a long while, and we've had to change and reinvent things as we've gone along. When we were in the old shop, we basically only sold poultry and game, so it's chickens and turkeys and all the wild things in Norfolk. And one of the reasons for moving to the new shop is because I want to sell all sorts of meat, lamb, beef and pork as well.
So why do you think it's important for your meat to be organic?
Well, it goes back to about 5 years from when we started at Grove Road. Around about the 1990s, we had a series of serious problems in the meat industry. We had that awful BSE disease, and then we had listeria in eggs, and then we had all sorts of animal welfare problems. And I was quite new into the meat business at that stage, and I was being asked a lot of very pertinent questions by my customers about all these things that were in the media. And I couldn't get, what I thought were honest answers to those. So I turned the whole thing round, and it's taken a long while, and we now have every single piece of meat that we sell in our retail shop comes from local farms, less than 20-25 miles away, and they are certified organic. Now, this basically means that the land on which they are reared, their animals, haven't had any chemicals for 6 years. They are very restricted with regard to what they can feed them on. There has to be nothing artificial. If the animals get ill, there are only certain antibiotics and drugs that they can use. But what we call the release time, after they've had the dose of whatever to make them better, is at least doubled. So to make absolutely sure that there are no residual chemicals left in the meat when it comes to me.
What type of game do you sell?
Oh, game. Well, I'm historically a game dealer. I've now become a butcher. But game in Norfolk is still very important. Primarily it's things like pheasants, and partridges, but we also have things like wild duck and all sorts of minority things. But one of the big sellers at the moment, as far as game is concerned, which has a much longer season than most of the other flying game, is venison, which is deer meat. So we have 5 different sorts of deer locally, from the great big red deer right down to little roe deer and fallow deer. And it's very healthy meat, very low in fat.
So, apart from the Norwich School Sea Scouts, what other groups do you cater for?
We cater for every single person now. Because of my involvement with the Norwich School and the Sea Scouts, I get really great feedback from people of your age, because all of your tastes have changed. You're much more into spicy foods now, so we offer a much larger range of spicy foods, and we have customers that come from all sorts of backgrounds, primarily because they know they can guarantee, once they walk into that shop, we actually flag up on the walls where all the animals come from, what breeds they are, who the farmers are. It's a completely open system. In fact, we encourage the farmers that we deal with, and there are only very few, to actually do things like farm walks, to invite the general public to the farms once or twice a year to actually see how farming should be done.
Why is the meat better than that sold in the supermarket?
Lots and lots of reasons. I'm not here to slate supermarkets because we all use them, I'm afraid. They are convenient. But there is no real need for anybody to buy meat from a supermarket. Primarily, the breeds that they use for the meat counter are not necessarily the best breeds of meat for taste and flavour. A lot of the beef that you have in a supermarket are the progeny of these lovely black and white cows that give great milk, but they're not particularly good breeds for eating qualities. Then we get to the next stage. When the meat comes to us, especially the beef, we hang it. It comes in as a whole beast, or 2 halves, and it's hanging in our fridge for over a month. And in that time, we lose at least 10% in water, but that's what we call a maturation period. That actually improves the meat, it tenderises it, it gives it more flavour. And then what we've got, which is our real expertise, we have very qualified butchers in the shop that do a fantastic job of actually preparing the meat. Very well qualified.
So in your shop, do you sell anything other than meat?
Yes, we do. We sell lots of things, and again, the emphasis is on local. We have things like a range of chili jams, which are produced in Taverham. We have all sorts of other accompaniments to it. And then we have a huge range which we do for barbecues and things.
We have several children at the school who are gluten-free or lactose intolerant. How would you cater for them?
We've been catering for them for some time now. Indeed, we have quite a lot of customers that come in that are vegetarian, strangely enough. And the reason they're vegetarian is that they come in and buy meat perhaps for their children who are not vegetarian, or their partners, who are essentially aware and very concerned about the animal welfare. And because we can guarantee that the animals that come to us have had a good life, and it's all free range, they would prefer to buy meat from us for their family rather than anybody else. When it comes to gluten-free, I have several friends that are gluten intolerant, so we produce things like gluten-free sausages, gluten-free burgers, and things like lactose intolerance is less common, but all we ask is that people come into the shop and say, can you produce me something? And we will do it. It's a challenge for us.
So going back to what you feed, the animals are fed, they're not fed like any hormones or anything to make them.
None whatsoever. No. All the beef and lamb are grass-fed, so they are on a totally natural diet, grass and clover, all of their lives. And we have a lot of customers, especially recently, people that are very nutritionally aware, that go to on a regular basis to gymnasiums, etc. Not all bodybuilders by any means, but they're very much into their buying absolutely pure meat, and it has to be grass-fed because it's a much better product for them.
Is there any additional information which our listeners may be interested in?
Well, I'll just tell you a quick anecdote to finish. We're sitting here with your deputy head, Mr. Keith Parker, and Keith used to go to Brackendale School, and indeed my brother-in-law used to teach at Brackendale School. And many, many years ago, we used to organise ski trips for Brackendale School, and Mr. Parker here was one of those which he remembers well. My own personal skiing went on for several years. I eventually qualified as a low-grade instructor, if you like, and my only claim to fame is that I eventually got very seriously hurt, and I was skiing with a gentleman one-to-one, off-piste, and he became quite famous about 2 years after I injured myself, and it was Eddie the Eagle, Eddie Edwards. So that's my only claim to fame.
Thank you for coming to Town Close to tell us about your business. We do hope you have an enjoyable time here.
Thank you.
So as you can see, Mr. Harvey's meat really is quality.
So if you're interested, please go to his shop or look on the internet at Harvey's Pure Meat, Norwich. I forgot where we were.
Hi, this is Harry with the Hockey Report. Throughout the spring term, boys in the junior, intermediate and senior age groups have been playing hockey in both games lessons and matches. Most of the matches have been wins or brilliant tournament results, as the under-9 teams show. Throughout the term, the A-team has won both of the tournaments they were entered into, at Failsford as well as Beeston, in which the B-team also finished in a very respectable third place. In the intermediate section, the highlight of the term was the A-team winning the plate at the IAPS regional tournament, as well as different victories from the other teams against Culford, Norwich School and Gresham's. The term for the seniors was also very successful, with the first team narrowly missing out on the plate at the IAPS regional tournament, and the other teams earning various wins against schools such as Langley and Southley.
And here are the results of the Christmas competitions.
And the winner for competition 2 was Amelie Hitchings, and the answer was Russian.
And the winner of What Caught Fire When Santa Went Down the Chimney from the Christmas competition is Amelie Reed, and the answer was his beard. Well done! And now here are the competitions, yay!
Who or what has their 21st birthday on April the 30th?
So that's it for the radio. I hope everyone has a happy Easter and eats a lot of chocolate, especially cream eggs because they're the best. Okay, bye everyone!